The title of this presentation is Latency Effects on Multidimensional QoE in Networked VR Whiteboards. Moving to the background of our study, we focus on networked virtual reality, NVR, whiteboards. These systems have emerged as a promising alternative to traditional electronic tools by enabling immersive, real-time collaboration that overcomes spatial limitations. By supporting natural hand gestures and a large field of view, NVR whiteboards provide an interaction experience that closely resembles real-world writing. However, a critical challenge in these systems is network latency. Whether caused by synchronization issues or transmission constraints, latency inevitably introduces delays that significantly degrade the collaborative QoE. While prior work has largely focused on VR performance in local environments, the impact of latency on remote collaboration remains insufficiently understood. This research gap limits our ability to design latency-resilient systems. Building on the background, our study is driven by three primary motivations. First, we address latency vulnerability. Networked VR whiteboards are uniquely susceptible to delays due to factors like bandwidth limitations, concurrent user processing, and high rendering complexity. Accurately assessing these impacts is essential for providing practical guidance on system optimization. Second, we consider ignored contextual factors. While it is likely that collaboration modes, specifically sequential versus free collaboration, and platform conditions, such as the presence of digital avatars, modulate user sensitivity to latency, these elements have not yet been systematically examined. Finally, we investigate unclear QoE determinants. The immersive nature of NVR platforms can alter how latency affects user experience. However, it remains unclear which specific QoE dimensions, particularly across pragmatic and hedonic aspects, are most sensitive to latency variations. By addressing these gaps, we aim to uncover the mechanisms through which latency shapes the collaborative whiteboard experience. To investigate these effects, we developed a self-controlled RCVR whiteboard system featuring three platform configurations: VR+, full avatar visibility and embodied actions, standard VR, drawing strokes only, and a PC-based baseline. We also designed two collaboration modes: sequential collaboration, SC, a tightly coupled turn-taking workflow where users wait for their partner to finish, and free collaboration, FC, a loosely coupled mode allowing simultaneous, parallel input. This multi-platform, dual-mode approach allows us to isolate how task coupling and social cues influence the perception of network delays. Precise latency simulation was achieved through a time-based buffering mechanism. Incoming data, including strokes and avatar motion, is placed into a wait queue monitored at a fixed logical update rate of 60 frames per second. The system evaluates the arrival timestamp of each packet against the system time, only rendering the data once the target latency, accounting for inherent system delay, has been satisfied. This ensures that the experimental latency is accurate, deterministic, and synchronized across all interactive actions, providing a rigorous foundation for analysis. A pilot study involving 18 participants was conducted to identify the most sensitive QoE subdimensions. By categorizing QoE into pragmatic and hedonic aspects, we found a clear consensus. Pragmatic dimensions, efficiency, believability, and interactivity, were highly affected by latency and essential for task completion. For instance, 100% of participants identified efficiency as latency affected. In contrast, while hedonic factors like enjoyment were noticed, few users regarded them as critical in functional contexts, leading us to select the three pragmatic indicators for our formal study. In the formal experiment, 24 participants evaluated the three platforms across both collaboration modes. We tested 7 latency levels ranging from 100 milliseconds to a severely disruptive 2,500 milliseconds using the 5-point absolute category rating (ACR) method standardized by IETP .910. Participants rated interactivity, efficiency, and believability on a scale from 5, perfect, to 1, bad. These ratings were averaged into mean opinion scores, MOS, allowing for a rigorous multidimensional analysis of how network latency impacts the collaborative workflow between two users. Regarding interactivity, the VR Plus platform consistently outperformed VR and PC due to digital avatars providing essential social cues like partner movement and posture. A key finding is the divergence between collaboration modes. At latencies below 300 milliseconds, interactivity remains stable across all scenarios. However, beyond the 300 milliseconds threshold, SC mode becomes highly vulnerable because its turn-taking structure is easily disrupted by delays. In contrast, FC remains resilient due to its parallel, asynchronous structure, which effectively buffers the negative impact of network lag. Efficiency findings indicate that while all platforms are sensitive to delay, the collaboration mode significantly shapes the decline. In SC, efficiency scores dropped steadily, with VR Plus being disproportionately affected at higher latencies, scoring 2.79 at 1000 milliseconds, because delayed avatar movements make the lag more perceptually salient. Conversely, FC scenarios proved much more resilient as participants focused primarily on their own inputs. To maintain efficiency in tightly coupled tasks, our data suggests keeping latency below a 600 milliseconds threshold. Believability, reflecting user trust in the system and partner, shows that SC is particularly sensitive to disruptions, with scores declining sharply once latency exceeds 600 milliseconds. FC demonstrates higher resilience, remaining stable until 1000 milliseconds. Crucially, the VR Plus platform consistently preserved higher believability across both modes because avatars provide social cues that sustain trust even under delayed conditions. For FC, believability emerged as the decisive factor for overall QoE, suggesting that perceived partner engagement is more critical than absolute efficiency in loosely coupled tasks. Analysis of holistic QoE identifies 600 milliseconds as a critical threshold for sequential collaboration, beyond which the functional coherence of turn-taking collapses. Despite general declines across all platforms as latency increases, the VR Plus platform and free collaboration mode act as significant buffers. VR Plus sustains engagement through social cues, while FC's parallel structure allows users to remain functional even under moderate to high latency. This suggests that the impact of network delays can be strategically mitigated through avatar-based embodiment and flexible task design. The key findings highlight that while SC requires latency below 600 milliseconds to avoid a collapse in user experience, FC remains comparatively functional up to 2000 milliseconds. The avatar advantage of the VR Plus platform is most effective in the low to moderate latency range by sustaining trust and interactivity. However, once delays exceed the extreme threshold of 2000 milliseconds, collaboration becomes impractical regardless of the platform. Designers must therefore prioritize strict latency control for structured tasks while leveraging avatars to enhance engagement in flexible, free-form environments. Synthesis of the data shows that QoE drivers shift depending on the context. At low latency, less than 300 milliseconds, impacts are negligible. Under moderate latency, 600 to 2000 milliseconds, SC is primarily driven by interactivity and flow, whereas FC is dominated by believability and trust in partner engagement. In high-latency scenarios, greater than 2000 milliseconds, SC users shift focus to efficiency as task progress becomes the bottleneck, while FC users continue to prioritize partner credibility. This provides a roadmap for optimization based on specific task structures and network conditions. In conclusion, sequential collaboration is highly latency sensitive due to its turn-taking nature, requiring delays to stay below 600 milliseconds for effective formal reviews. Free collaboration is more robust, remaining functional under fluctuating conditions by allowing higher user independence. While digital avatars enhance the social experience and preserve trust, they do not fully mitigate the fundamental performance degradation caused by high latency. Therefore, optimizing core system performance remains the highest priority for developers of networked virtual reality whiteboards. Thank you.